Hey, usually I say everyone, but not everyone is listening. I'm talking to you. If you're listening right now, this new episode is with Todd Glass. We did one with him before. We're doing it again because it went so well. And we want you to listen. And I'm kind of drunk, but and jet lagged, but this is going to be the best episode you've ever heard with Todd Glass. But before we do, go to our website, JimandEddieTalkShit.com, click on the Western Union banner, and sign up. If you sign up, Jim and I get to buy mansions. Also, check out our dates. My dates are at eddyift.com, and Jim's are at jimjeffries.com. We have all kinds of dates where we perform live, and you get to come see us, and you get to yell out, lives are at stake. Todd Glass is performing
September 7th and 8th at the Nut Street Comedy Club in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Go see him. And you can go to our website and donate still. We sell packages, T-shirts, DVDs, posters, all kinds of shit. Right, Farside, you still sending those out?
Hell yeah.
All right. And check out our new website. You'll enjoy it. Now let's listen.
Two douchebags on a couch. One's an asshole, one's a grouch. And relentless, all their mouths. Jim and Eddie. Oh, shit. Jim and Eddie.
My younger brother used to, that was his pickup line with girls. It didn't work well, but he used to say to girls would go, what do you do for a living? And he'd go, I work at the Humane Society. And they'd be like, that's adorable. Oh, what do you do? He goes, I euthanize the dogs.
That's what Roy does now.
That's what he does?
Well, he doesn't want to, but he has to because there's just so many. And he runs that center in, in Israel.
You either have to be sad all the time when you do that, or maybe it puts things into perspective, what's important, and you find a place to...
No, I don't know how anybody fucking does that.
I don't either. I had to put anything to sleep, and it is harder than human beings. And
I've done it twice.
Why now.
Wait, you put a human being to
No.
sleep? I was like,
No, I put I'm like a lot of people. I had to put a dog to sleep twice, and it is, oh my God.
It's awful.
It's harder than when people die because dogs, pretty much most of the time, dogs, when you're raising them, they're a little tough, and then they hit a certain age where they just are good as gold. So you have a 12, 13-year memory of just all decent and good and loving, and then it's not.
Duke, we could put Duke to sleep though. His dog, Jason's dog.
He's
Put him
so
to sleep.
sweet.
Yeah, I know
maybe
he's
it's
sweet,
time.
but it's time.
He's such a sweet dog.
It's time.
You know how my vet helped me? Not to be too serious. He said something that really helped with the last dog. He goes, listen. He goes, I know what you mean. They have a little life in them and you feel bad. He goes, but I can tell you, to be honest with you, you either take them a little bit early or a little bit late. It's always better to take them a little early. That doesn't mean 3 years early, but it means just because the dog has a little life in it.
It's exactly how we felt about my grandmother.
Doesn't it's probably true with human beings,
Duke suffers from depression. Oh,
Shut up.
well, you would too if you lived with Jason.
What type of dog do you have?
He's a Lab Dane.
A Lab Dane?
Yeah.
Is that a kind of dog now? Like
Labrador
a
Dane
Labradoodle?
mix.
Labradoodle? It's a
He's a mutt. He's a
Labadane?
rescue mutt. Do you hear how they're
How
talking
old is
about?
he?
He's 7.
Where is he now?
He's at my friend's.
I don't know. I'm worried.
You know what? You know what I'd like to see on your trip across country? I'd like to see at least one female drive you too. Wonder how many it'll take. How many drivers
This is
to
the
get.
best thing in the world.
Ever.
This is why podcasting is so great. Imagine pitching this to a network or anybody.
Well, this is why our show works too, is because comics come up with great ideas all the time, but we have like responsibilities and lives and things and have to go.
And you have this-
But then you have him that has nothing. Nothing.
I keep trying, but it never works out.
Well, maybe this is your thing.
You can just keep going back and forth and report on hitchhiking.
And I think people should. Can I tell you something else? I'm trying to send this in a really good direction. I don't mean to overtake it here, but I think he should, if this works, I'm just throwing it out there. I think to if he sleeps over your house, you could make it, they have to give him a little money. Now, I know that seems weird. Wait, he's sleeping at our house. He needs some money.
Well, they already know. Everyone knows Jason never has money, and when he does have money, which, by the way, I have a whole bunch of money to give you. Our fans, Jim and I have this thing where we rip up. Whenever he has money, we rip it up.
Wait, say that again?
Whenever Jason has any money on him, Jim and I rip it up.
How much would the most you would rip up?
20s,
Okay.
which will be like a week for him. He lives.
We
on
actually
20
set a fire. They burned a bunch of it over at the other room one night.
We can't talk about this.
So
It's
wait, the
federal
fans
offense.
send them in money?
So the fans rip up money and send it to them. And when I'm on stage, they throw it on stage. They cut coins in half in Australia because the Australian dollar is a coin. They cut coins in half and throw them on stage when I'm on stage. Give this to fucking Jason, mate. Fucking,
Can you tape the money together? Or
he does and uses it.
I've done it before.
How many pieces is it usually in? What's the average?
Oh, there was a $5 bill I put together once. I think it was in like 30 pieces. But I did it because it was like...
Hey, it's a foot long Subway for $5.
Exactly.
$20 foot long.
Da, da.
No, the 20. 20. I'm rehashing a lot of old shit, but whenever you give Jason money to go get food, like you'll go, here's $20, or he's like, I got to go to Subway. You give him $20, and he pockets the change every time. And the commercial $5 foot.
Right.
$20 foot.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've been on it.
So the fans know, if you're picking them up.
He's going to need money.
We can get Subway to sponsor it.
You're getting no money.
No one's going to sponsor.
He's going to. This is what the thing is going to be. You're leaving with what you have, and the fans have to take care. They have to do what Jim and I do, which is take care of you the whole way across. So Todd, Todd, how many hours do you want them?
I don't know. I mean, it's whatever, it's whatever I can. I think I have to take one other person because when I drive back, I don't want to be.
You got to have weed, myself. You got to have booze, and you've got to have food.
Vicodin.
Why? When did that come into play?
No, you don't need Vicodin. You're off to no good already.
He does. He's got sciatica in his leg.
You do?
Actually, not anymore.
You know Eddie Pepitone's joke about Vicodin?
No.
He goes, they should have a campaign. Vicodin. Come to think of it, I am a little sore. Vicodin.
I heard Eddie Pepitone is killing it in Edinburgh right now.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, like he's the hit of the festival.
I don't. Well, never mind.
I've told.
I love Eddie Pepitone.
He's fucking hysterical.
He's in a league of his own with a few comedians that make me cry. He makes me punch walls when I'm laughing
the best.
at him.
I remember.
I'm glad you feel that
way back in New York City right when the internet first came out. That's how we're talking like 1997 or 98 when it was like people started getting on websites and blogs and things or whatever it was called. There was a website called ComedyNet.com, I think, ComedyNet.com, and it was the first comedy streaming website, and you couldn't even stream stuff because it'd take fucking 6 years for it to buffer. And they had a gossip page written by a gossip columnist that went under a fake name, and I wanted to fucking kill this person because every 3 times a year it would nail me. But I remember one time saying, I think I was doing Montreal and Eddie Pepitone was doing something, and it said, if Eddie Ift and Eddie Pepitone are the future of comedy, we have a dismal future ahead of us. And I just remember that, and I'm so glad that Eddie Pepitone has done well. I mean, I'm still working on it, but Eddie Pepitone has done so well that I'm so. But and then I this is how you hold things with you. I tried so many times to figure out who the writer was, and I tracked it down just like a year ago. An old agent from Gersh that went on to work for that company is now living in Pittsburgh and not in the business anymore. And she came to my show in Pittsburgh, and the first thing I said, who was it? Who was because it was under Ruby Wolf was the assumed name, like the anonymous name. I go, who was Ruby Wolf? And she goes, oh, that? I'm like, yeah, who was it? Because it sounded like it was a comic because they knew everything. For a while, I thought it was Mark Maron. And she goes, oh, that was like John something. He was the comedy writer for the New York Post. And I go, what a fucking dick. And she goes, oh, he's dead now.
There you go.
And I was like, good.
Yeah. Anybody who didn't I don't know what he was doing back then, but I don't want to go on too much of a rant. But the thing with Eddie Pepitone that drives me not that drives me crazy about him as far as the business goes of it, and it's nice when you're complaining about someone else because it's not self-serving, is that I do agree that if let's say the people at Comedy Central, because they haven't given him an hour special, I never think it's personal, but to me that's why it's worse. But I do believe it's not personal. They might even go, we like Eddie, we just don't know what to do with them. That's, to me, if it was personal, I wouldn't be as angry. But the fact, I don't get it. If I took over Comedy Central. And by the way, sometimes you wonder, could they be that off? Come on, Todd. Maybe there's something you don't know. Yeah, maybe if you were over there, they'd tell you why it's not as easy as you think.
Sure.
And you'd sit back and you'd go, oh, I understand. But if I'm going to look at it from that way, I have to look at it the other way. People do go in and save networks. One human being can go in and then 5 years later tell a fucking story. So maybe because if it was me that was going to do that, like take Comedy Central to another level, and I know they're doing all right, but to me, they could even do better. The first thing I would do was, okay, let's give Eddie Pepitone a fucking hour special. Then he'll be a star, and then we're going to give him a sitcom. Anybody not on board with me? Because you can all fucking get out of here. If you don't think that guy would be a household name, pack your fucking shit and get your fucking asses out of here.
Real
I'm
anger.
shitting. You're all
Real
getting
anger.
fucking lie detector
Real
tests.
anger.
Every fucking one of you getting a lie detector test. Because if he had an hour special, he would be fucking huge. If Chelsea Handler, whether you like all the comedians that she promotes or not, some I do, some I don't, but the fact that she can go, yeah, we'll get comedians and they'll come on and on and on, and then why the fuck? I don't get it. And I wish someone told me. I wish someone Comedy Central heard this and go, Todd, here's why. Because you know what? I swear to fucking God, I'd shut up and listen. I don't get it.
I know what they'd say. They'd say, oh, because we do numbers testing and they do that. What's the Q rating or your Q rating? What's it called? Your Q.
I don't know.
Focus groups?
No, there's a score that they do where they score your likability and your notoriety. And it's a combination of the two. And some people have high notoriety, but low likability. I think Colin Quinn had that, where it was high notoriety, low likability.
You don't think it's...
And then there's other people that have high likability, low notoriety, and they want the combination of both, high notoriety, and they test them, and they do polling and all that fucking polling shit. It doesn't make sense, because there's a great story about the Farrelly brothers testing Dumb and Dumber. And at the end of the movie, they tested, and all the fans were upset because they wanted them to get on the bus. Remember when the Swedish bikini team pulls up and they're like, "Hey, we're looking for directions. You guys want to come in the show?" And they go, "Oh, you got to go down there, blah blah blah." And the bus drives away, and they go, "I think things are looking up for us." And the girls just drive away, and they don't get on the bus. Well, all the fans wanted that happy ending of them getting on the bus. And the Farrellys, and I think it was Jim Carrey, fought and said, no, Lloyd wouldn't get on that fucking bus. He's too dumb to get on the bus. He would never do that. And they were like, yeah, that's right. And the studio was like, no, they got to get on the bus. The people want to see them get on the bus. And they're like, it's not fucking funny if they get on the bus.
Right.
It's funny that they don't get on the bus. And the Farrellys fought for it and kept it the way it was. And it's one of the funniest films of all time because they don't fucking get on the bus.
Look at the sweat. I just started sweating for Eddie Pepitone. I'm probably digging my own grave. Well, not that...
Would you invest everything you had in Eddie Pepitone?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. As much as I'm adamant about it, and again, I was very fair with mine. I might not get it. But if I'm going to say I might not get it, someone could sit me down and go, Todd, here's what it is. And yes, we love Eddie too. But if I'm going to look at it from that perspective, again, I also might be fucking right. I don't understand. He would be like Rodney. Because you know what? To me, what it is, and I've said this a lot, and it's maybe I say this a lot because I'm hoping somebody in the other end one day goes, hey, you know, Todd, I heard you on that podcast, coincidentally, and I'd fucking sit down. I'd talk to you. I'm on the other end of the business. I think I could shed some light on it for you. But I think it's the age thing. And somebody told me the most brilliant thing about that a long time ago. They will never stop realizing that age in comedy helps. It helps.
Yeah, because
when I was younger and I watched David Letterman, I don't want to watch when I was 18, another 18-year-old throw watermelons off the roof of the building.
That's true.
That's what me and my friends do. But to watch an old guy, now you're calling a 35-year-old guy old. Yeah, when you're 18, 35's old.
Yeah.
That's what was cool about it.
Yeah.
Or when I was 15 watching SNL, again, keep in mind, you're 15, cast is 30, 35 probably then, 27, 35.
It's actually funnier because it's somebody...
An old person with a young
sense
sense
should
of...
have responsibility and has zero responsibility.
Exactly.
Which is always funny. And the older they get, the funnier it is.
Exactly. And no one ever watched Rodney and no kids went, God damn it, I love Rodney. Of course, I wish he was younger, but you know, he is good. No, that was what... So with Eddie... Oh, he would have such... That's why, I mean, I'm not saying give Eddie a show on Comedy Central because you feel bad for him. No, give him a show because you want to fucking...
Yeah.
You want to create a Rodney Dangerfield.
I watched Eddie at... and I've told this story before.
And by the way, real quick, just so you know, Eddie doesn't need Eddie's doing exactly what he should be doing. Just being funny, and eventually he'll get it. It's not like, you know, he needs me to do this.
I saw him one time, and I've told this story on the podcast before. I was in Nantucket doing a show, and there was a show in the bottom of a church, and Eddie at the time was dating Ben Stiller's sister, Amy Stiller. And he was there vacationing with the whole Stiller family. There was Ann Mira, Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller, Amy Stiller, Ben Stiller's wife, and then Eddie Pepitone.
Oh, my.
And Eddie at the time was seriously like an open micer. Like he was one of those comics. He's so funny, but he wasn't like a road comic. He hadn't figured out how to make money out of it. So he's just there, like almost fish out of water with this super successful, like, Hollywood family. And he's, walking around Nantucket eating ice cream, with them. So we do the gig and it was going well, but there were, Nantucket people. They wear Nantucket pink pants with whales on them. And it's like the fucking preppiest place in the world. And when Eddie got on stage, he broke into this joke where he talks about fucking his mother. And there were children in the audience. And he was going, I fucked my mother. Have you ever seen him do this bit?
No.
He starts smacking the ground going, I fucked my mother. I fucked my mother. And it was one of those laughs where it got so awkward that I was cackling in the back, that people were looking at me like, you stop. You stop it. You're not funny.
I think you're not really laughing that hard. You're doing it to like butt
encourage
heads
him
with the ones that aren't laughing.
But it was so funny. And then his commitment level where he kept going and people actually came around and started laughing because he committed to it so long, and they started laughing, and I was like, this is amazing. He won them over with like the redundancy of I fucked my mother. And then he kept going, and he lost them. Like he lost them, and I went, oh my God, this is amazing. He didn't have them. He got them. He lost them.
Will he get
and
them
then
back?
he brought them back. And I was like, I've never seen this done before. I've never seen a comic.
Yeah, we've seen him lose them and get them.
Yeah, but not have them, get them, lose them, get them again. And I was like, it's never going to end. This is Andy Kaufman. They're going to have to carry him out of here. And he did. He ended it, but it was probably maybe 2 minutes, which is an eternity. Think how long 2 minutes is instead of him going, I fucked my mother. I fucked my mother. It's because I fucked my mother. And he's beating the floor and he's going into this, that you think this guy's having a mental breakdown. And I watched it. I was like, that's the funniest guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, Eddie is... So a few guys make me laugh like that. Ryan Regan does it in that league too, and Kevin Meaney, when he used to be touring all the time, does it. I know that's a weird, they're all in different ways completely. But Kevin Meaney, man, that used to just totally do it for me.
I would like it too. That'd be great if comics on the road could, from our podcast, like
thank you very much.
Some of our comics that have been on our show pick Jason up and take Jason. To some of his destinations. I can't believe Farside, with you being on the show tonight, and
what's he texting you?
He's still recording.
Did he say that?
Up. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the odds of Jason doing this thing are, and how quick do you think we can get it to happen?
We will set it up. It'll happen in the.
I don't have a job or a residence.
Can you? You don't have a job or a residence?
No.
Where do you live?
With a bandmate.
Oh, okay. So you have a place you're staying.
Yeah.
Okay.
He always has a place. You've never spent a night on the street.
No,
never ever.
Because he could crash on your couch if he had to, right?
Yeah, that welcome was worn out.
I got a few places I can go.
I gave him a lot. I could probably give you the most.
Eddie was very kind.
Yeah, well, I think this is a great idea. And keep in mind, don't send him out when I'm on the road. Like, I might drive him a block. I don't know how I'm going to feel.
We might need to figure out an event though to get him to.
Let's do some planning.
Yeah. We'll figure out where he's going to go. But there is a guy who did something like that. There's a couple guys. British comics do this kind of shit and then do Edinburgh shows about it because they've got to do when the Australian and British comics and Irish comics. They have to do a new show every year, whole new hour. And writing a whole new hour is hard to do because what subject matter are you going to talk about over and over and over again? So they do stunts and then write an act about it.
This could change my life.
You could write a play.
Something.
You might get killed and
That changed my life.
No one is going to kill him.
We'd have to find a new
if
bass
anything-
player for the band.
Yeah.
The what?
a new bass player. Jason's the bass player.
If I get killed,
Well, I mean, if
Jesse,
you're gone,
you're in trouble.
Oh, I'm probably gonna take
Jesse, I think the band's done. He sold his guitar today.
No, I
to
sold
buy-
my
Thank God he
guitar.
doesn't play guitar in the band.
I play bass in the band.
But there's a comic in I think his name's Tony Hawk too, like the skater, an Irish comic who carried a refrigerator all around the rim of Ireland and had to like ask people like, can I put this on the roof of your car? Can I get it on a bus? And he just went all around and would like take it with him wherever he went.
Oh, I would hate that.
And then
That
he
gives
did
me a headache
he
thinking
did
about it.
another one that was pretty cool. He had to hunt down the entire Moldovan, I don't even know how to say it, but the entire soccer team and play them at tennis. And he said that he could beat the entire Moldova, which is some Russian former Soviet Union country. He could beat every one of them at tennis. And he played every single, and they were, because they all play for teams all over the world during the regular season.
Tony Hawk did this?
Not Tony Hawk the skater, Tony Hawk the
I know.
comedian. So he would fly to these countries, and some of them would be like Soviet bloc countries that were like, they wouldn't let him meet with and one guy, he wasn't going to be able to play because his coach wouldn't let him play, so he was going to play him on like a video game, tennis. And then finally he gets to his last player who's playing on the Israeli team, goes to Israel, flies there, he's going to play the guy. And the guy beats him 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, just crushes him. And he had beat every single guy, and that was the final guy. He's getting on the plane, he's flying home, and he opens up the newspaper, and it's not the guy. His friend that he made the bet with hired a ringer to fill in and pretend to be the guy, and it was a tennis pro. And he has to like jump off the plane. Or he might have even flown back and then flew back again and found the guy and played him. But these guys do these stunts like there's Dave Gorman. Do you know Dave Gorman?
Mm-hmm.
Dave Gorman did the.
A lot of times I say no, and then you see the guy. You're like, oh, I know.
Dave Gorman does a lot of festivals, and he did a thing where not Google. What's the Google thing when Google Whack? When you Google two things and they only appear on one web page. So if it gets one web search. It's so hard to do now, but he would like do a Google Whack. I think it was called Google Whack, and he would. He'd have to go meet the person that did that one, and then they would have to find one, and he would have to go meet that person. He went all the way. He had a year to get like all the way around the world, and he went everywhere. He went to China. We could expand this that you go around the world.
Also, just so we don't, I might not be here if this thing loses wind, but here's what
It won't.
Just because somebody says hey, the odds are somebody did something like this. We're not saying that something like this hasn't been
Right.
done.
Nothing
Here's the
new under
difference.
the sun.
No, I don't know about it, but we're guessing it's been done, but it's not been done by you. So that's what's going to be great about it, and with the fans. So, just because somebody writes in, Blueby Schmooky fucking did that 3 years ago, you're still fucking doing it.
Here's what we need. We need all the fans that are willing to drive him, take him in, to volunteer on Twitter, Facebook. Mostly go to jimandetti@yahoo.com and write us an email, and we'll put you in a file, and we're gonna track you all down, and we're gonna set up times where you're gonna do pickups and stuff. And Jason, it's gonna get so fucked because he can't even coordinate putting the right shoes on.
Should he have a bike?
No, I mean you mean like one that I can attach to their car or something?
No, a bike you could ride.
Yeah, what if we have
Just
you
ride across the
ride
country?
across
I don't
the
know. I'm
country
trying to help you out here.
That's
without a
insane.
seat? Your core will be so good at the end.
Can I tell you if I had money, what I would do? Even if it meant he wouldn't get it, like somehow he wouldn't be able to ride it.
You do this, but it'd be a sitcom with Eddie Pepitone.
No. If I just had like the money, it's not. By the way, I wouldn't need that much money, but I just wouldn't want to take to waste this much money. I'd start you off. I'd give you a go-kart and see how far. You go.
Hey, there's a go-kart for sale on Abercrombie for $1,000. It's a dune buggy go-kart. I think we should buy it for the podcast. Who's in? Who thinks so?
How much is it?
It's $1,000, and it's a fucking cool. That could be your starting car.
You know how bad I wanted a go-kart when we were little. Every year we moved further and further out into the suburbs till we lived like in the country, and every year my dad would promise us things that we would get. And look, we have really good parents. I'm not complaining. But one year my dad goes, "Come on, if we move out there, you all get go-karts." And then we never. And I don't know how he worked it, but we never got go-karts. One year he said we could move. We'd either get a trampoline or a built-in pool. And then
Your dad just had these line incentives.
well, I don't think
to
he
get
thought
you
he
to
was
move.
lying. I think they when they got to it, it was like it didn't actually seem to work out or something. You
Best
know,
laid
a lot
plan.
of this stuff makes sense when you were younger about my parents. Like when we were very young, I remember things they did and fun things, a lot of fun things. When you realize how old they were, like even now, I'll go. Mom, how old were you when like we were in blah, blah, blah grade? She'll be like, well, I guess your father was 25. I'm like, oh, no wonder,
Well, you grew up in Philly, right?
Yeah.
The first I ever heard of you is I used to spend all my summers down in like South Jersey Shore, like
Wildwood.
Stone Harbor, Avalon, and I would go to this one bar, and this is before I was even a comedian.
Oh my God, the Ryans.
Yeah, Paul Ryan, and I used to go to this bar. And he used to tell me, he's like, oh, you're a comedian. It was when I was first starting. I wasn't, when you're not a comedian, but you tell everyone you're a comedian.
Right.
And
it's a great, one of the best places
and you
can
tell
be.
everyone you're a comedian. Now people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I sell aluminum siding.
Hold on, I got to interject this real quick. Here's my friends' impersonations of my friends doing an impersonation of me when I first started doing comedy, and some of them say it's not much different. Be on a plane. We talked about how quick you're to offer up what you do for a living on a plane. So you be on a plane and start talking to me. Like,
Hey,
say, I'm a stand-up comedian.
I was the same way. My second gig ever, I flew to Boston, and it wasn't to do a gig, it was to go visit friends, but I'd set up an open mic up there, and I get on the plane, and this couple, second gig, I'd done one gig at the Funny Bone in Pittsburgh, second gig, I'm going to Dick Doherty's Comedy Vault, I'm on the plane, the whole plane flight to Boston, I talked to the people about my stand-up career. My career.
It's
and
great.
just like how I write my jokes and the bookings and being on the road.
I was exactly the same way. Now, to be honest, even though I don't mind my friends teasing me, they go, you haven't changed. Now it's changed over the years. If I think I can spark up my friend's a cop, and he said the same thing that I said. He goes, sometimes if you tell someone something and they're smart, it can lead to a nice conversation.
Sure, but most times
it doesn't.
it's,
I don't know, with comedy now, I mean, it's maybe 10% or less that I will say it. I don't know. For some reason, once in a while, I will bring it up. But most of the time, I don't.
It's almost when I have to, when it gets to the point where they go, what do you do? There's like this sick feeling in my stomach, like, oh, we're going to go down this road? Like, really? I'd go down any other road. Why this one? Do we have to talk about this?
We were talking about something. Oh,
wait! You in Philadelphia? I got to tell you about the Ryans.
Oh yeah, the Ryans.
So I used to go to this bar all the time, and I got to know the owner of the bar because he knew because I would talk about how much of a comedian I was, and he would always say, "Do a show here," and I was like, "I don't want to do a show." And I would go out, and I was just a drunken idiot, and I would go out every night and cause trouble. And every time I'd do something, he always would go, "That's funny, that's funny." And I would do stuff on stage, and I would get up with the band and sing Love Boat or something, and just an idiot. And I would be on the dance floor dancing, and he'd go, "That's funny." And I remember one night, I don't know why, I'm just on the dance floor with my friends, and I just decided to take all my clothes off, completely naked. And the bouncers just pick me up, and they're like, it's a packed bar, and they're like carrying me over their head, completely naked, taking me out. And I remember going past him, and he just looks at me, and he goes, "That's not funny." And he was so mad at me.
Oh,
and he was like let down. Yeah, but he always used to say, "Todd Glass has done a show here. Why can't you do a show? Todd Glass will do a show." And then so I said to people, "Who's this Todd Glass guy?" And Joe Matarese told me, he's like, "Todd Glass is crazy. He'll do a show anywhere." He used to drive around with a truck with a stage on it.
Yeah, that was later in my career. But the Ryans, I had some. I mean, I lived my college years till I was, 35.
Yeah.
Going down there to the Ryans, and they were one of their brothers used to be my friend, and those were down at Stone Harbor at PJ Ryan's. There were a lot of fun times down there.
But they and then Joe Matarese told me the story. I think I've asked you about this, and you don't even remember it. He said it got blown out of proportion. Joe said he was opening for you one time.
Now hold on, I got to stop real quick. I will know because I know what's in my soul. Now you think where's this going? If I did something or I didn't do it, I might not remember the details of it. But like if somebody tells me a story, even if I can't remember doing it or not doing it, oh, that's okay. But if it's mean, look, I have a twisted, demented, dark sense of humor. I love, but I wouldn't do something if it was the expense at someone else's. So sometimes I know a story's got changed around. If it means I was mean to somebody, I'll be like, no, never did it. So now I'm very curious of this story.
Okay, so Joe said he was middling, and you were doing the show, and
you punched a girl in a cunt.
Yes. No. And in the middle of the show, Joe, he was watching, he went out to the bar or something. And he said he came back in, and all the tables and chairs were moved, and you were wrestling a guy. And he said you had said in your show something like, "I used to wrestle in high school." Did you wrestle?
No.
He said something like, "I used to wrestle, and you created a wrestling ring, and you had like a wrestle off with like a heckler or something."
No, I didn't get to that point, I think. I think what happened was I said, now listen, I do remember this sort of. I said that I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to hold back. Like, I just want you to know going into it. So, hey, by the way, I wrestled. Like, I'm near like a professional wrestler before I did stand up. You might beat the shit out of me and I look like a smacked ass. But on the mere fact that I might win, I got to tell you. So later they can't go, the guy didn't tell me he was like a professional wrestler. So going into it, I'm telling you that. And he ended up checking out before that we did it. So that's sort of that's what happened. I was like, okay, let's push everything aside. But God damn it.
I'm the best at throwing those out there in like bad situations or something. Like when I surf, and surfing has this weird, like, you're not allowed to drop in on guys. Yeah, there's an order to doing it. And there's a lot of arguments out in the surf. And whenever guys like give me a hard time, I just go LAPD. And I just look at them, I go, LAPD, you want to talk anymore? And they're like,
they might not, they don't.
They just cower and surf away. They're like, all right.
Can I tell you what I do? Oh my God, hold on. Can we do this real time? It's a little crazy, but hold on. Sometimes when I'm driving in my car, I have this ready.
Do you have a siren?
No, I don't have a siren, but
I used to.
On my car, I can put it through the.
I used to have a red and blue light that I could pull out of my glove. It was so small.
Me too.
And I would pull it out of my glove compartment. Anytime anyone would piss me off, you just touch it. You just give them a little bloop bloop, red and blue light, and it fucking scares the shit out of someone.
I have a story where
it's also like a big fucking offense.
Yeah, it is. I know, and I have too many stories when I was younger when I would do that. I remember once. Hold on, here we go. So I can put this through put it through my car stereo, So I get this on, and then they hear it, and then they'll get nervous. They'll think, "Oh shit, he's an undercover cop." So all of a sudden, they pull up next year. They do something.
I'm doing this. By the way, you just gave me a great
they don't know. No one knows. You don't say, "I'm a cop." It's all understated. They just shit.
Going to the vehicle to say when she just sent me a noise disturbance. That's why I just got 56%. Damn it. Yep. Yeah.
But you know what? I've only told this story one other time. I wouldn't do it anymore. When I tell these stories, sometimes it's embarrassing because I get how dangerous it is. But a long time ago, I had my friend, everything he gave me was legal. That he could give me. He's on the LAPD, but he is in the bomb division now, so he doesn't have his own, I guess what they call the belt's the Sam Brown, but his uniform. But then I went to the Army Plus store and I got the badge and I had to play it. No, but listen, the reason I did this was for legitimate reasons. I played a cop in a show that used to be done in LA. I even forget the name of it, but Dan Rosen would put it on. And I had, my uniform looked real because it was. The badge was fake, but even that, I got the best badge. And somebody drove by the theater and they threw a handful of change at us. Handful of change.
That's fucking dangerous.
That invokes rage in you because if I wasn't, so my car was right there. I jumped. I knew exactly. I was wearing my whole fucking uniform. I jumped in my car. I got caught up with them. I had to go in and out. Again, if you're listening going, Todd, you could have gotten killed. I know. But you know what? It would have been worth it. So listen, and by the way, for what it's worth, I'm telling you, every ounce of this story is true. So finally, they pull into the gas station. I pull into the gas station. They pull out of the gas station. They pull up to a red light. I get out of the car. And when I get out of that car, they see me in full uniform. I go up to that street right there, make a right, and pull your fucking piece of shit car over to the side of the road. And they did. And then I got out of the car, I walked up there, and I said, let me tell you something. I go, I could do two things right now. I go, if we handle it the right way, I don't get to talk to you like this. But I'm going to handle it the wrong way and tell you what I think. Every fucking one of you guys is a pussy because you're all scared. I deal with criminals that aren't scared of us. You're scared. You drive around, you throw a handful of pennies at people because you're little fucking pussies, every fucking one of you, shitting in your fucking pants. So take your fucking car and go home and just know at the end of the day, this is who you are, little scared motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of here. And I was shaking, like when I got back in the car. I was like, my hand was... No, that story was probably
did more damage to you than them.
I was just... But you know what? I liked seeing them just shit in their fucking pants,
Because
you know what? I will tell you this.
As you were going into that story, though, I'm thinking of all the things I would have done. I would have been like, all right, I want all of you to lie on your faces on the ground. I'd be walking across their backs going, you like this? How's this feel?
Eddie the bad lieutenant.
You know what? The reason that speech came from, a friend of mine on the police department told me a long time ago. Now, granted, I did it times 10. He said sometimes if a cop is being, if they know they're going to handle it, if they're going to let you go sometimes, if they're being a little rude or like they're not allowed to be that rude, so they're going to do what they have to do and then let you off the hook. And that's what stuck in my head. So I was like, that's sort of, anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, I know that if I had them in that vulnerable position right there, after what they did, I would have like
raped one.
Two.
At least.
I would have had them playing the elephant game, where their dicks would have been back and they would have been holding each other and walking. Like I would have been, I would have go down that alley right there. This is where it's all going to go down.
Then I end up arrested.
I would have pulled out like a gun and gone Russian roulette. You point this at your, I would have fucking.
Because you know what? I thought about it like when I was that age, what did I do? And
how old were they?
They were probably, I would imagine, 17 years old in that area. 18.
What color?
They were, they were white. If I remember correctly, they were white.
I would have definitely killed them.
But I will tell you this, at that age, I always think that I do it at that age. Like with my brother and his kids, I'll always go, Todd, we didn't do that at our age. And I always go, Spencer, yes, we did. Like I always have my nephew and niece, and I always sort of defend them a little. But I never did that. Even when I was 18, I didn't fucking throw shit at people. Even at 17, I knew that was bullshit.
I used to throw apples at cars all the time as a kid.
Well, a car, that's different. No, I never. I remember once my friend Joe Potterton, he wanted to go around stealing. He goes, we're going to go out. We're going to like steal Christmas bulbs. Like for some reason, they would go to someone that had Christmas lights.
We love that.
And they would take all the bulbs out. And I go, I don't want to do that. It's like they're Christmas lights. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, we're not all rich like you. And I wasn't rich. I'm like, what? Why do you think? Because I'm rich? Like I had some great hobbies. I go, my dad didn't even get me a mini bike I wanted. That was another thing he promised.
Go-kart, the mini bike.
The go-kart, the mini bike. Anyway, that story went all over the place.
I think we're going to go buy the go-kart. One last thing before we finish up. I want to talk to you about is there any way people can watch Todd's Coma?
I do have some of it. There's two versions. There's the original version that I shot with literally a handheld camera. I looked at some of those old scripts today, and I literally today I got rid of them. They were in my filing cabinet, and there was a lot of dream sequences.
It was the funniest show I ever saw. I was at a production company one day in New York, and they were like, they were pitching all these shows, and they said. And I saw Todd's Coma, and I go, what's this? They go, oh, it's Todd Glass's pilot made, and it was him in a coma. And all the people come to visit him, and they tell stories about him. So
it was 10 years,
and it's all dream sequence.
Right.
So he's not there, and it's just people coming to visit him all the time.
Yeah, I'll give you the minute because the minute version of it is 10 years ago. Me, Mike Coman, who now writes the show, he produces Bravehearts and wrote on Conan for many years. But back then, they were like 21, and Steve Rosenthal, and I came home from an audition. And I went, I just want to play a guy in a coma. And so I don't have to act because I was such a bad actor. Even though it was in a coma, I still had to act because all the dream sequences, which by the way, some people go, that's the easiest job in the world. You don't have to do anything. And I would always have to go, I shoot the dream sequences, so even though I'm laying there when we shot it. But so we had the idea and we started, and Fred Willard ended up doing it, and then I was at a party. Ben Stiller ended up doing it. Ray Romano ended up doing it. Ariana Huffington.
Somehow a scene of it ended up in one of Ben Stiller's movies.
But you know what? I really believe that he didn't do that. But here's the benefit of that happening.
That
so we shoot
me
it
so bad. Can I talk about that? Because
hold on. I don't want to throw him under the bus.
You're not throwing him under the bus, but it was just one of those things where I was sitting in the movie theater and I almost had a heart attack.
No, let me. Okay, I'll get to that point real quick. So anyway, we have like our own camera, and I'm at a party, and I had only met Ben Stiller once through Judd Apatow, and somebody said, "Go over and tell him." And I was like, I remember the person who pushed me into him, like, go. I was like, don't fucking do that to me. But then he was really cool, and he goes, it was such an easy concept to explain to people. That's what made me be able to get a lot of people like, I'm in a coma, and people.
See, I saw it and figured these are all your friends.
No. And then Herb Albert ended up being in it. And so we shot it at my house, and then we did it at the HBO Workspace or Comedy Central Workspace.
How did this not get sold?
It didn't sell. But then, so we shot it, and we shot it at we did it like a live version. We just shot it with like one camera, and we tried to sell it, and we couldn't. And then I think like maybe 8 years later, it was over at Happy Madison. And Nick Schwartzen saw it. He goes to Adam, "Oh, you never saw this?" And he goes, "You should see it." He popped it in, and then literally like 2 weeks later, we were in production shooting it.
Are you serious?
For a legitimate pilot the second time.
Oh, so you did do it then as a pilot.
TBS picked it up.
Oh, okay.
Adam
I didn't
Sandler's
know
company.
that.
But again, it didn't sell.
But it's still a great story that 8 years later they found it.
Yeah, but the thing about
Chuck Martin's here for the next episode. He has something to say.
Yeah, I'm on time as opposed to Gene. But I think, though, if you actually got into a coma, it would sell.
yeah. Maybe
Just a thought.
Hey,
if
that's,
He's going on the road with
that's
me.
a little preview of what's going on the next episode.
maybe with Jason, we could have this all happen if he does the.
I've seen Jason in a coma many times.
So anyway, there we go.
But anyways, there was a scene in it where, to explain to you guys and the listeners, Todd is in his coma, and Ben Stiller, that one was hysterical. Could you explain?
The scene with Ben Stiller is that it's always a dream. So Ben Stiller comes by to visit me in the hospital, which was like, and then his parents go, "How do you know Todd?" And everything has to throw back. He goes, "Well, we actually used to be roommates," and blah, 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 blah. And then became the dream sequence of we would insult each other, but we were very passive aggressive. And Ben would go, I sat Ben down. I go, "Ben, I have an idea for a play. I think you'd be really good for it." And he goes, "Oh, I like it. Tell me about it." I go, "Well, it's about this guy." And he's like, "So here's what's happening. He's having sex with his best friend's girlfriend." And he goes, "I like it." He goes, "Well, listen to this. He doesn't know how to tell him. So he comes to him and says he wrote a play. There's no play. It's his way to say that he's been fucking his girlfriend." And Ben goes, "I love it." He goes, "I got an idea too." He goes, "It's about this guy on the bad side of 30, sits in his rooms all day and whines he can't get auditions." And then it was back and forth,
It was
back and
hysterical.
forth.
So then there was a scene. It was you and Jimmy Pardo.
There's a scene with Jimmy Pardo where again, Jimmy Pardo, people go, "How did you," in the hospital room, "how do you know each other?" And Jimmy Pardo goes, "Well, we used to have fun. The thing about Todd, no matter what we did, we had a blast. No matter what we did, it could be the dumbest thing. I remember one day we had pulled in to get gas," and then it goes to the dream sequence, and we're getting gas, and then Jimmy pushes me. I take the nozzle out of the car.
Well, first you spray him with like the water from the windshield wiper, and then he like grabs like the bucket and throws it on you, and then you pull out the gas, the gas nozzle, and spray him with it, and the next thing you know, these two are hosing each other down.
There's a scene where he opens up his mouth, and obviously we hooked hoses up to the gas pumps. The guy was really cool. He goes, "I have 2 new gas pumps. Every so often you have to switch them because the rubber gets old." He goes, "We've never been used, so we hooked water up to those." So there's a scene where Jimmy Pardo's mouth is open, and there is water gushing in his mouth right from the gas thing. Well, anyway, I don't like to be one of those guys. I'm telling the story actually.
I know. I'm telling it from my point of view, and I'm not saying who took it or if it was.
I don't think
it wasn't parallel thought though. This was somebody saw that because then the scene in Zoolander is almost identical
That's
to
what
it,
I thought.
and I saw it years later or a few years after I saw yours, and went, "Oh, that stings." I've just figured you sold it to them.
No, but I did. The reason and believe me, I don't want to be one of those guys because you know how like it's always, "Oh, he took that and he took that and he took that." But I also don't defy that sometimes that really happens and someone should defend themselves. So when somebody said that scene's in the movie, I remember thinking, I'm going to go watch Zoolander and watch the scene and go, no. But when I watched Zoolander, so I'm not bullshitting, I did go, that's a little fucking weird. But I do not think that Ben Stiller took it. Do I think someone did? Maybe, but I will tell you that like I'm only telling it because I think it's worth it. Ben Stiller did like the kindest thing for me twice. Not only did he do it originally, came to my house and shot it with a handheld camera, but then when the pilot sold, he did it again.
Wow.
So yeah, I always like to be very clear with that because I would say to this date, no one's done anything that kind that did not know me that well. So I like to be really clear with it, but also
I had you on our podcast, though.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go on the road with you.
So anyway,
can we be on that list with Ben now? Guys,
no, I feel bad. I'm not being ass kissy at all because I'm just being. Someone did something kind, and the odds he'll hear this would be nil. But if he did, I think I owe it to go. No. I don't think. I know he didn't do it. If I know anything, and did somebody? It's pretty close. So
so when I want to close this up. We're sending you to New York probably.
Well, I gotta see my mom again though. She's losing her
See
hair.
how he's gonna turn it into like a side trip.
Oh, you
where
mean
he's
on the trip?
Yeah, he's gonna turn.
Well, why can't he, if you can?
Why can't I see my mom
If he
on
can
the
see
way?
his mom, if you can get someone to drive you there,
Why don't you just
She
go to
has stage 3 cancer.
Why don't you
dude.
go to Florida and go to Disney World too?
wait till it's stage 4.
We don't want that.
Jim would love that. Jim makes so many cancer jokes to him. Yeah, it sucks. Jim couldn't be here, and we were going to Skype him in. And I called him today, and I was like, "We're going to Skype you in tonight." And he's like, "I go, it's going to be 4 a.m. your time in Scotland." And he's like, "Okay." That's when Jim's in his prime. He's wide awake.
I don't mind, the way my mind works, I certainly think Twisted and Demented's funny, but I will say this, that obviously he can go see his mom as long as he can, it just has to be in the journey.
The fan's
Yeah.
going to take you.
Yeah.
There's fans are.
You're going to go see your mom. It's all going to be good.
But I'm not encouraging this, but I think it's going to happen. I'm not encouraging it. Wink, wink. But if any fans sabotage it, it'll probably be funny too. Like if they take him somewhere where he's not supposed to go, like out of the way, like you end up like they put you on a plane and you end up in a foreign country or something, You
mean, wait, if along this journey, okay, now you're saying sabotaging, but let's go the other way just for a second. Let's say somebody, they have the money. They go, where are you trying to go? And they go, okay, well, here's $500. We'll get you on a plane. We'll get you to see your mom. That can happen too, right?
Yeah, but there's people that'll do that, and we've already had talks with him. He's not allowed to do that anymore.
Oh, he's not?
Well, he's.
But how about on this journey that we're sending him on? If somebody wants to put him on a plane,
I think there's enough cities and stuff you could just do.
Oh, so you don't want the plane?
Well,
no, we want him in cars.
'cause
No,
it could
no
be like-
planes.
No planes. Okay.
No planes, but a kidnapping would be fun. Like
No, Eddie, let's not escalate this.
I'm
into
not
violence.
escalating. I'm just
Because I'm not
out there
going
now,
down
it's
easy.
too late.
I'm allowing the fans to be creative.
And like,
Let
what
them
if,
be creative.
What if I kill one by mistake?
Abandoning him in the middle
That's
of the
not
desert.
funny either. Fucker.
Can I tell you something, Jason?
Shapiro, what the
Middle
fuck?
of the desert.
No, I'm
Jason,
fat.
nope. Let me
Don't
tell you
do
something.
that to me.
Most people I don't know your fans, so I'm not defending. I was
No.
going to say, look, once people get you in the car, they're going to be very nice to you. But I don't know. There's probably people going, oh, Todd does not get.
You don't understand our
understand.
fans. Put it this way: we had Yoshi Obiashu on the show about 4 weeks ago. And I've never seen anyone scare Jim Jeffries, but Yoshi told a story of he thought his parents live in Japan, his dad and his stepmom, and his stepmom he thinks killed his father. His father died, and he thinks his stepmom had something to do with it. So Yoshi flew to Japan and beat her almost to death.
At the funeral.
And then beat up like her cousin and
just on a beating
her brother,
spree on his way back to the airport.
And then got in a car and went straight to the airport and flew back. And I've never seen Jim cower about anything. And Jim goes, "That scared the shit out of me." He's like, I don't know if we can ever have him on
Yoshi
again.
sent me an email.
And our fans, never gotten so many comments going, "Yoshi's the best."
All right, that makes me feel better because can I tell you what I was thinking? And I wasn't going to say anything because I thought, oh, come on, I know you have your show. I know what you guys do, so no one gives a shit. But as soon as that cancer thing came out of my mouth, here's my theory on that. Like, and this is all going to come full circle. If in the comedy world, if somebody knows, if somebody respects me and I know they've said kind things to me, then they can fucking say anything they want. But I don't like those guys that, I love you guys. They never say anything kind, and then they make fun of you, and you get a little hurt. They go, I love you. No, I wouldn't, because you've never fucking said anything nice. It's only funny when you make fun of me, adjust that you've been kind to me. So with the cancer thing, if we would have had genuine conversations about having cancer, and I would have had heart-filled conversations with you, and you would know that I also have a very understanding side of that I know what that's like, and that's just, nobody would ever fucking want to go through that. Then if I said that, I would be all right. But I wasn't all right that I said that because we've never had any.
I was all right with it though.
I know. But I felt as it came out of my mouth. I don't know him well enough. Now I have friends. I have a friend that's a paraplegic, and we make every joke possible because he knows I love him and he knows I get it. But I don't with you. So I felt a little bit.
I have a friend that's slightly mental retarded, and we talk about him, and he doesn't even realize we're talking about him. And we talk about his mom that has cancer, and we send him on trips. Oh, look who's here, Gene Pompa.
Gene Pompa.
Yes, that's a Mexican. Good racist
You know what I like
dog.
to do? Sometimes I'll see an ad in the paper for a car, and then it says like 1972 Dodge Diplomat. And then I call up and I go, yeah, you know, you're ad in the paper for a 1972 Dodge Diplomat. I'm just not interested.
You motherfucker.
What? I forgot. I don't remember. I have slippery. I get a little nervous. You know, in those ads where they put in they try to make it sound good, but there's nothing to say good about their car because it's a piece of shit. So they write, original horn. By the way, that should have gotten a laugh in the room. That's very funny. Who gives a shit? Hey, does that really have the original horn?
I remember I wrote a bit for you. I don't give a shit if you pay me for it or not. Doesn't matter. It was a closer. I said you should do a Neil Diamond song at the end of your set when you go to
pick
colleges.
the worst thing I've ever done.
Sweet
I said, coming to
Caroline.
America. And you switch it to Sweet Caroline, and all of a sudden you don't owe me any fucking money, asshole? Really?
I dropped the bit, but I did do it. You know when I dropped that bit?
You know you're in trouble when Gene's lip starts going up.
I did one for the people listening. I always say that, like, who else is listening? But who else is enjoying? Like, for the people listening, as opposed to us. I was doing one of your jokes. I probably bastardized a little, but I remember the first time.
Whoa.
Can I tell you what I like about your?
Noosa, he took off his coat. It's the same Mexican.
Oh, I know what bit you jacked. No. I know you jacked a bit for me, and I'm not mad. I'm flattered.
Are you serious?
I'm flattered.
I'm not going to laugh if you're being genuine.
No, you took the scab joke.
Oh, shut
and
up.
you did it on the college tour.
Never did that joke. On my mom's health. Of course I didn't.
Is your mom alive still?
Yes. My mom's good. Look at Gene sitting right next to me. Gene, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
You doing all right
we're
now? But last
merging
week
two
was rough.
episodes right
I
now.
saw you at Dave Raff's reception. You're having a little difficulty following Jeffrey Ross. But that said,
At Dave Rath's birthday/wedding.
yes, I thought you looked great.
Thank you. I don't look good now?
Physically.
Somebody dyed his hair.
What are you, out to hurt somebody? That's what somebody says when they know you look good. They have to find something. I do look good.
Oh, shit.
New
The
side.
anti-Mexican dog
Cut it
again.
out.
Do you metamorphosize into different?
I am sweating up
Yeah,
a
I am
storm.
too.
Mr. Bear, relax.
Noose, relax. She's very.
You want to put on
racist.
my white jacket? It's actually very cooling.
She bit a
I
chick
need
the other
to-
day when I was walking her.
I have to
she
pee
should've.
and I'm sweating. You know that feeling?
All right, let's close up this episode. I just want to thank Todd Glass for a fucking amazing episode.
Thank you. That was fun.
very much.
Hey, if
And
I
thank you
start
for the
this
idea.
thing with
You're-
Jason, I'll
you're
be
on
happy.
it. You're on it. I swear to
Cool.
God, and it will be. And
Let's
listen,
just go coast to
listen,
coast, Todd.
If you haven't listened to Todd's podcast, you have to listen to it. It's just the Todd Glass show.
Yeah.
And Farside's on it. I think all our fans already go there because
It's a little silly.
Oh, so you
but
have a podcast yourself?
I gotta go.
Thank you, Todd. Where Todd Glass show, and what's your Twitter?
Oh, by the way,
You never Twitter them.
I do. The people that follow me on Twitter know that I go months and months without tweeting. Oh no, I go weeks and weeks without tweeting. But when I do, sometimes it's a date. Someone goes, "You have to tweet more," and then somebody else goes, "You know what? The people that follow you, they're okay with the way you do it." Don't
Yeah,
get-
yeah.
My friend was trying to stress me out.
So it's at Todd Glass.
At Todd Glass, when does this drop? This episode?
Tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to plug. I'll be only one date. Can I plug it?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the Nut Street Comedy Club, the 7th and 8th in Wilmington, North Carolina. I've only heard great things about
Yeah,
this
I've heard
club.
it. Yeah, Chris Fairbanks
And
told me about it.
so I love Chris Fairbanks. And there we go. Nut Street Comedy Club, the 7th and 8th. There we go.
7th and 8th.
Remember that time I came to your house and scared the shit out of you while you were sleeping?
Oh, Jesus. Yes. By the way, if you ever wonder what you would do, you know when you wonder, like, what would you do if you woke up and there was someone in your house? Okay, can I scream as loud as I did then?
Yes.
Because we told
Yes.
this story once before, but I had to change it. I'll make this really quick. So, I always said, what would I do? What would I do? Would I fake sleeping? Well, I open my eyes. I'm sleeping downstairs in the first level of the house. They come in from the outside. I look up. I open my eyes, and I go like this. I scream. Once is a little bit of a scream, but I remember the second scream. So when I do it in a second, you'll know why the second one was louder. First scream was like and then you usually recognize the person, and then you oh, you scared the shit out of me. The second scream was when I went, I don't know who these people are. So picture you're laying down on the sofa and you open your eyes and there's two people leaning over you 1.5 feet from you. So I went like this. Remember, first scream is when I thought, I go like this. I go, ah, 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 ah. And I will tell you, I like Gene Pompa because they were laughing. Gene, I knew right
was with
away
him? Swartzen?
felt bad.
Who else was
it
with
was
you?
Raph.
No, I did feel bad. Actually.
I knew that he felt bad, and it made me not angry. It made me be able to laugh because I knew he got it. He felt really bad. He was like, "Dude, are you okay? Are you okay?" I didn't know the fucking.
That's
well,
terrifying
did I
having
not know
people
you
in
then?
your room.
No, we knew each other because we would always be obnoxious, and so I felt that I had license to be obnoxious with you because you're always fucking an obnoxious.
But you know what it was?
person.
Just so the story. Hold on, I'm sorry. So
In a
the
good
story.
way, not a bad
so
way,
the
yeah.
story makes sense. I didn't see him maybe, but the other guy I did not know. I did not know ever. I think it might have been Kevin, whoever it was. But anyway, now I'm sweating up a storm. And people know I'm a pussy.
By the way, we used to do that. No, we used to do that in college all the time. My roommate and I would cover our entire bodies in tinfoil, just wrap it around arms, fingers, hands, heads, and cut out just eyes and mouth, and then walk into guys' rooms. I lived in a fraternity house. We would walk in their room while they were sleeping and then just scream as loud as we could. And they wake up like zombies, you know, like in the Thriller, like their body comes up and they just stare, and there's that pause, and then the
You're so out of sorts. It's fucking. It's,
and then
it's insane.
But then we would run out of the room and run to our room, lock the door, and take the tinfoil off as quickly as possible and like hide it, you know, under the bed. And they'd be like, "What the fuck? Someone was in our room last night." And we would do it like once every like 6 weeks, so that everyone started to have this reoccurring story of these tinfoil people. Good joke. All right, you should do it. And Jason will be wearing the tinfoil when he travels across country. Check out Todd at the Nut Street Comedy fucking whatever and room in Wilmington, North Carolina, September 7th and 8th. If you're in LA, I'll be at the Ice House that week. Jim's touring. Go to Jim's website. He's all over Scotland and England right now, all over the UK. And check out Todd's podcast at the Todd Glass Show, and he's at Todd Glass on Twitter, and you can watch his really good clip on Zoolander, and
also that infomercial bit you jacked, you motherfucker.
yeah, and that he and just Todd, thank you. Oh, wait! Before we end the show,
Where you going, toddler?
Todd, you need to see this. Come in here. Sensitive, come here. Come here.
What do you call him?
We call him Farside because he looks like a
Farside.
Farside character. Todd's never seen your tattoo. Could you show it to him, please? Wait till you see this. No, take your shirt off.
It's on the back.
Do you see it?
What's it say?
It's a tramp stamp.
I hope you did this after you started working on the show. Wait, does it? If it says the name of my show in your ass, I'm not going to be happy.
No, that's
Do you
where.
have a tattoo of shit coming out of your ass?
That's where.
How much would it be if the listeners paid for it? Would you put a tattoo in your ass that looks like shit's coming out of your ass?
That would hurt.
Well, it hurts anywhere.
Yeah. Would you do it?
Someone's been doing a lot of sit-ups.
You know what? What is wrong with you?
This is the show that'll never end.
He lost 100 pounds.
Did you really lose 100
No,
pounds?
I'm just kidding.
No, he didn't. Farside, have you gotten a Jay Moore tattoo yet?
No.
Okay.
Jay being nice to you?
Yeah.
That's good.
You've got a tan.
Have you seriously ever seen Jay's cock?
Yeah.
He did say to me.
Everybody has.
I said to
Proud of his pecker.
I said to Farside, I go, you've been spending a lot of time on Jay Moore's podcast, and we lent him over to Jay because we're part of Jay's network. And I said, you know, he stole it, and you're always there, and you're with them. And he goes, but whose name do I have on my back?
And you know that's true. Who's got your back?
Oh wow, that's heavy.
That's right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.